Hey, composing gloves here, and today we're going to be talking about a MIDI music theory, compound meter. What is compound meter? Compound meter, as we sort of touched on with 5/4, is now the weird thing about 5/4 is it shares elements of compound meter. It's when you could group things in groups of 3 rather than in groups of 2. So it's a triple. That's why they call them triplets. That's where those things come from. We haven't talked about them yet, but I felt like throwing it out there now. So let's really quick go to our settings file, project settings, and change it to a compound meter. So we're going to change it to 6/8. This is the most common compound meter. It's just everywhere. Like if there's a compound meter, this is usually the one. So in this meter, we have the option of having 6/8 notes in one. So we have, these are essentially eighths, and we can break it up so that we have 6 beats in one measure. So this means we have two ways to look at it. We could see it as a simple meter where we could break it up into 2, but we can't really, because look at this. If we, let me fill these out just so it's full. Okay, so here we've got 1 and 2 and, but these are technically 16th notes. They're pretty fast too. So let's break it down. In compound meter, there'd be 4, right? Well, here we have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when you count it, you would count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you could count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you could emphasize every other beat, and this creates still a triplet fill. So we have this feel of 3, or you can emphasize the upbeats, the upbeats. And so 1, 2, 3, technically still downbeats. And then we could emphasize the 1 and the 4. 1, 2, 3. My bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So dun 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 dun. And this is the essence of compound meter, is those ideas. You cannot achieve this in duple meter. It doesn't exist. If you split it into 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Like that's technically not compound meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all, that's simple meter. So we need a compound meter to do this. Now there are ways to get these rhythms over. Now, if this isn't making sense yet, let me really quick say a rhythm like do 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 do. Like you probably heard that in some big room track or something. And that is an example of that. First it starts off with simple meters. That's the do do, but the do do do, that rhythm cannot exist in simple meter without weird ways of going about it. It would not follow the rules of breaking the beat into 2 even parts. So it would be considered a compound meter. And there are ways of staying in our meters and using those. For example, what if we had something like 7/8? So we have 7 beats, and the 8th note gets the beat. So we could break it up into these eighth notes. So if we did something like this, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are we supposed to interpret this as 1 and 2 and, or I'm not 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that how we're supposed to do it? Or is it supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Or is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1? There's like all these weird ways. That last one doesn't really count. So people will use this to get 4/4 or get simple meter and compound meter. So they can have that. If that's a reoccurring rhythm. In the piano roll, we can just write it out and give emphasis to the notes we want to be grouped. It's all about where the emphasis lies. That's like the idea behind meters, is where the emphasis goes. So when we change where the emphasis goes, we're able to create these emphases, these rhythms that are continually occurring. So we will use compound meter to get that dun dun dun. So we got 1, 2, 3. So that is that for compound meter. So it's whenever you have something that you group in groups of 3. You could group it in groups of 2, but even then it will still form a pattern of 3 somehow, unless you are really weird about your rhythms. And then it would be easier to write that rhythm in simple meter. That's why it's academically incorrect to sort of crossbreed these things. If your emphases fit more naturally in a subset of thinking anyways, why would you go and make it complicated and put it in compound meter? It's unnecessary. It's an uneducated decision to do. So if you're working at piano roll, though, you could say screw it. And especially with the amount of trouble you have to go through, it's oftentimes easier to work in different step sizes here, where it will subdivide it essentially for you, which is some of the advantages of snap settings in the grid. Now this one, I feel like this one's a pretty confusing topic. These things are just harder to learn without music theory. It's just easier to learn in music theory. I'm always out of wonderment at why my grid settings snap so funky when I do that. Anyways, that's that. If you have any questions about this, let me know after you've watched the other series, because I think it's just easier. But anyways, compound meter, groups of 3, duple meter, groups of 2. Subscribe and have a blessed day.